Bringing the concept to life in early design stage through product renderings and animations can help accelerate sales and marketing initiatives. Let's see how Visualize 2022 makes it easier than ever to generate professional level output for any user. HDRI environments have long been supported by Visualize. These 3D assets not only apply a background image, but also include some scene lighting. The lakeside environment has the perfect sunlight source, but the background image will need to be replaced with something that's more targeted at a potential commercial audience. Since 2D stock images are easily accessible and come in all shapes and sizes, these can add the perfect touch to any rendering, but traditionally require a trial and error process to align the model's perspective to that of the background image itself. Visualize 2022 simplifies this process dramatically with the new match camera capability. Using the 2-point perspectives of the horizon and the ship's structure, along with the ship's walkway, the camera focal length is calculated and applied to the 3D geometry. This builds up additional photorealism into the project by seamlessly integrating the 2D image in the 3D model. The next step is to make sure that the location of the light source and the 3D environment aligns with the light source and the background image. Rotating the previously added HDRI environment and watching for the new Nemo shadows to align with the shadows on the decking is easy. Unfortunately, the shadows cast off the Nemo seem to bleed through the ship's wall. This is no longer a problem for Visualize 2022. Primitive geometry can come in handy for multiple scenarios, and in this case, a wall primitive brings in a vertical plane which can be positioned and scaled to replicate the wall location as seen in the image. New in Visualize 2022 is the ability to convert this geometry to a shadow catcher, which leaves the shadow exposed while removing the primitive geometry, giving the exact level of detail needed for this rendering. For the next image, capturing the Nemo in its natural habitat is a must. Leveraging configurations and additional cameras in Visualize is an easy way to keep all of your renderings in a single project for an under-the-water shot. Updating the HDRI environment and the background image from the library is a simple drag and drop. As we saw, it is important to replicate the scene lighting as closely as possible, and this time the addition of a light source added by switching to the top view and using Add to Match camera to create the light source. At any point you can switch between live renderings and preview mode, which is an easy way to manage system performance when you're setting up your project, such as adding and positioning additional assets. For this image, including a blue line snapper adds a nice touch, but what about a school of fish? Previous versions of Visualize had the ability to create model formations, but required 2 or more instances. New in Visualize 2022, patterns can now be created from a single instance, and with the new scatter feature, randomizing the fish by defining a number of instances along with the bounding box parameters make this process a snap. For the final rendering, a third configuration is created to capture explode animation for the Nemo. With the timeline enabled, groups are selected and keyframes defined to their start and end positions. Going through the process of keyframing multiple parts and groups can quickly clutter the timeline, and now in Visualize 2022, items can be added to the animation timeline and nicely organized into folders using the group option. The animation ribbon can also be colored, making it easy to find and reposition these keyframes right into the perfect place. The first camera is all set to a nice wide-angle perspective, and it's keyframed into the timeline. Now, a single camera can capture the animation, but multiple cameras really bring a professional touch. You can easily repeat the process of introducing additional cameras keyframes into your animation with just a few clicks. Moving ahead, you can see 3 cameras have been created. Visualize 2022 offers much more direct approach to allow camera switching from one camera to the next. By creating a group in the timeline, you're able to keyframe in which camera you'd like to have active and when, skipping the need to create additional edits in third-party editing applications. Going back through each of these configurations, everything looks good and the final render process can begin. As the progress moves up, each of these renderings finishes up, and Visualize 2022 offers a new updated output viewer to keep the project even more organized. Render settings can be previewed, and the projects can be cancelled or rendered as needed. And best of all project outputs are referenced and the final deliverables can be opened up directly from the output viewer. Year over year, SOLIDWORKS Visualize takes advantage of the latest rendering technology and simplifies it for every user, creating world-class sales and marketing collateral, like we can see here with the Nemo has never been easier. In summary, we now have the new match camera capability within Visualize. We can incorporate a shadow catcher when using 2D background images. We can easily pattern instances and use the scatter pattern functionality to move them to new locations. We have the ability to group items when creating animations, and we can also switch cameras as well. And to manage our assets, we have the output viewer.